What are you doing with this merry little band?
This is gonna sound so dumb, but have you ever heard of a legend of this train that went missing during World War II? Supposedly had a lot of gold and jewels and like treasure to be found.
Like,
They call it the Nazi gold train.
is that the one that allegedly disappeared? Supposedly was absolutely full of the stolen riches of the Third Reich?
Yep, that's the one.
Yes, then I have heard of it.
Well, Maxwell over there, she nods towards the kid making notes. Thinks that he may have come across where it could possibly be. We're in college and we're studying archaeology. Just then you see coming down the stairs, um, Nux and Rose, and they're both actually laughing. Which you've seen Nux laugh before because he's a jokester, but Rose does not laugh very often.
Oh, the rest of my motley crew.
Oh, you never said what you were doing here.
Hunting down old Nazi documents.
Really?
I'm absolutely serious. I need a favor from a scholar in London, and his price are some documents that were lost during World War II, and now I've got to get in touch with somebody else in Poland, and they've got a whole thing. And sooner or later, I have to find some particular Nazi documents which allegedly have been lost. So imagine my surprise finding you looking for old Nazi stuff. Fair shot we might run into each other at some point. Then again, the Nazis had a lot of business over here, so, we might end up on opposite ends of a relatively large country.
Maybe. You see Nux and Rose, like, they start to walk in. Nux has his arm around Rose, and she's, like, holding his hand with her hand.
Mhm.
But when she catches, like, sort of a glimpse of who you're talking to, her eyes widen, and she kind of, like, ducks under Nux's shoulder and, like, bolts out the.
I better go check on her. But look, here's my card,
She
okay?
turns around and sees Nux walking out. Check on who?
You look. Here's my card. On the off chance you do stumble across some Nazi documents or whatever, I'd be more than happy to pay for them. And if I happen to find something about this train, I'd be happy to let you know as well.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So,
So
yeah, I'm gonna be like, well, it was genuinely a pleasure meeting you and encountering you, and look up and down at the jock. And yeah, Maxwell, good luck.
he looks up like, what the hell? Like, oh, there were people here.
Yes, 3-piece in the field, said the man wearing a waistcoat and a long coat.
Juliet follows you out. Before though, she says, she touches Eva Nora's arm and she says, "Good luck with what you're looking for, and do be careful. You might not find exactly what you thought you were going to find." And she walks out after you.
All right, so outside.
Yeah. Uh, so like across like the front part of the building, you see Rose standing under a tree talking to Nux.
I got them acute senses. What's being said?
Uh, Rose is saying, "I had to get out of there because I know her. We went to high school together, and I'm dead."
As I walk over, Oh, you and Evanora used to study the old Llewellyn text together?
I mean, yeah.
Man, thank goodness I wasn't like, hey, let me go get my assistant Rose.
Yeah. That would have been an awkward conversation.
You know she's in the Maiden Blood Sisterhood at Princeton?
That makes sense.
Does it?
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't look like it, but she was a total joiner. She wanted to be a cheerleader at one point.
I look at Nux and, I mean, let's face it, the only thing that makes a cheerleader better is being a goth cheerleader, right? Right?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would agree.
right.
I would
Yeah.
totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Look
could
at
see
Juliet. When
Juliet is just like,
see, I'd love it if Juliet was like, "Yep, got to give it the sploosh." No, yes.
yeah.
Oh, that's on the slideshow. No time like the present. Plenty of night left. Beep boop. How far away are we away from Quadsco?
Well, you're in Quadsco, but you're going to Quadsco Fortress. I don't think it's far. Okay. So, Quadsco Fortress back in World War II was used as a labor camp. It was used to make missiles mostly. Um, yeah, it was used to make the electric components for U-boats, V1 and V2 missiles. Now it's sort of like a museum, but it also is used as storage for military and wine. It's like a huge brick fortress. There's a lot of underground tunnels.
Its complex covers an area of 17 hectares. Its lower walls are 11 meters thick, and its upper walls are around 4 meters. According to some sources, it is the largest and best preserved fortress of its kind in Poland. Hey guys, this is going to be fun.
It's huge.
Great. Now we just have to find an unidentified clue somewhere in one of the largest, most well preserved fortresses in Poland. With a described on Wikipedia labyrinth of underground corridors. Excavated in the 19th century. Super.
Are you saying this out loud to them, or is that out of character?
That's in character.
Oh, okay. Nux has he's sitting by a window and he has the window open because he's smoking a cigarette. And he just goes, and that is why we have Juliet here.
Man, I bet there are big ghosts aplenty there.
Probably. So we'll say that you walk through, you find an employees only door that leads you down into the labyrinth.
How about your end?
You're probably looking for that secret room, then, yeah.
You were the right man to talk to.
Follow me. He puts his hands back in his pocket and he walks with his head down. He doesn't even know where, he doesn't even need to like be looking up because he just knows where to go.
He's been here a minute.
A few times he almost goes through a wall, but then remembers that you're following him, so he can't go through the wall.
How do you say shit in Polish?
I don't know. I know how to say asshole in Polish. Dupayash. Okay. So,
Wówno.
he okay. What was that?
Wówno. Wówno.
Pretty much,
But
yeah.
but it's with a G because Polish.
There's also not a lot of vowels in Polish. He eventually brings you to a small, well, it's not that small. It's a little rectangular room, very wide, and it has a table with 2 chairs and a lot of crates all around the side. On the left-hand side, there is one other entrance. Um, well, here you go. Good luck. And he goes through the wall. At that moment, you see across the room. You can't really see the back wall across the room because it's pretty dark there.
Fight
It seems like
music.
a lot of the lights have gone down.
Well, I
And on
mean,
the
we
other
see in the dark,
side,
but
right, but you can't really see through this dark. And coming out of it, you see 2 sets of glowing blue eyes. And emerging from the dark, it looks like 2 wolves, white-haired wolves. But there's something weird about them, and they're drooling and snarling at you as they creep out from the darkness.
hand in my bag for the Uzi with the silver rounds. And I'm going to hold out a hand with the other one and say, we don't mean any trouble. And I'm going to use that special ability that I learned in New Orleans, the third eye, so that I
Okay.
can see spirit energy as opposed to ghosts.
You
If
don't
they're
see any.
werewolves, they should have some kind of woo woo
They
woo woo.
should. Yes, if they're werewolves. You don't see it.
Okay. I'm trying really hard not to metagame because we jumped right into fight music, and I'm like, well, obviously I'm gonna shoot them eventually. Okay. We don't want any trouble.
When you say that, the one to your right snarls and growls, but it's like it's an inanimal and inhuman, it's just an unnatural growl. Almost like
Like
raptor-ish. Like
reptile-ish.
yeah,
Yeah. Like
yeah,
less less wolf, more monster.
exactly.
Glance over at Nux.
He like pushes up his sleeves a little. Well, this is gonna be a party.
We don't have to assume violence. There doesn't have to be violence. There doesn't have to be violence.
Listen to the music. There's gonna be violence.
The hell are you talking about? You don't
You
hear that?
see, or it's just me. um, Juliet and Rose. Um,
The
okay, so
fuck?
you see Juliet kind of like grab Rose's arm, like ready to move her around if she needs to be protected. And at that moment, both wolves leap forward. One pounces in front of you and then shifts into what you have seen Artemis turn into, the big bad freaking wolf. But it's not like what she looks like. She looks like a wolf standing on hind legs, just really big and like pounds of
Very
wolf and fur.
underworld lichen
Yeah, underworld
shit.
lichen type of
Yeah.
wolf. This though is a huge hulk of a man, naked, covered in some fuzz. His hands are claw-like, and his face is sort of snout, but it doesn't quite go out all the way. Long white hair with the ears.
Like a mane at this point.
Yeah, he's snarling at you as the other one lands behind you guys and shifts. So let's roll initiative. As
I
the
am
other one lands behind you, uh, you see um so Juliet goes and kind of like pushes Rose behind her. Nux goes to the one that landed in front of you two. Hey, doggy, doggy. And you see Juliet smack him upside the back of the head. Oh!
Reverse backhand.
Yep, pretty much like. All right, so you get to go first.
We don't want any trouble. Do you understand me? Shit. The only thing I learned how to say in Polish is help. Uh, and I've already forgotten how to say it.
Uh, uh, Pomocy.
Pomocy.
He looks at you sort of confused and snarls, but then glances at your gun and
Oh, I
then
don't
does
have it out.
the
It's still in the bag.
he glances where the gun is
I
and lets out
slowly.
that like weird roar.
Hey, he's bearing fangs at me. That's the equivalent of pointing a gun at me.
But you're infringing on his territory.
Do you speak English?
He starts talking in what you've heard Artemis speak, but it doesn't sound the same.
Uh, I remember one or two words. Uratha?
Okay, at that moment, um the wolf in front of you goes to try to grab you to get the gun away from you.
I'm going to pop a celerity.
Okay.
And I will use that to do the bloop 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 scrolling. I'm gonna use that to do a 20-foot skip to sort of behind him.
Okay. You're behind
And
right behind him or you're 20 feet behind him?
20 feet behind him to buy some
Okay.
room. So
Okay.
behind him and like my hand is hovering up away, but with my quick draw I could still like
Okay. Um so he's
peace.
like he goes like this and he's all like "Rrrr," and he turns around and looks at you and lets out that roar like with his arms back and his face like forward.
Come on. Hey.
The other one from behind goes to leap and jump at you.
Ah shit.
So I need your strength plus brawl, please.
Ooh. That will be 3 plus 2, 5.
All right. So when he leaps and lunges, he does grab you. And now he's like
Hey.
struggling and hold. So you guys are like "Mm."
Ugh.
Nux's turn. Nux pushes his hands down and then claws like fly out of his fingers. And he goes up to the wolf that tried to grab you before and missed you. And he goes, "Come here, boy. I might have a treat for you."
Don't
And
antagonize them.
Juliet is just like, "Nux, please shut up." And he goes and tries to, like, when he turns around to look at him, Nux goes to swipe at his. So he swipes and he does slash. He misses the eye, but goes like right around it. And the wolf, like, turns and then kind of like he doesn't roar, but he gets a weird smile and just turns and looks at Nux.
Oh no, he's enjoying it.
Your turn again. So you want to try
Okay.
to get out of the grapple?
I
Okay, so you are able to break free of the grapple.
All right. So I'm going to, instead of just breaking free of it, I'm going to use that success for a maneuver where like I've got the upper hand on it, and I'm going to use a free hand to quick draw my Uzi and just unload it in his stomach.
So you just get to do that, right, as an action because you broke the grapple.
Yeah, if I succeeded, then I can do my thing.
Okay,
I
but I
think.
still have to roll your firearms, right?
No, I mean I've worked.
Well, to get the damage.
Oh yes, hell with it. Yes.
So your dex plus firearms.
My dexterity. Boop, boop, boop. Scrolling everywhere. My dexterity is 3, and my firearms is 4. 9 again. I do not get my pistol or extended bonuses.
All right. So he takes. Yeah, he's taken 4 points of lethal.
Only lethal.
I mean, sorry, aggravated.
Ooh,
I'm
that'll
drawing
piss me off.
aggravated, but I said lethal.
Gotcha.
I meant aggravated. All right, so that was your turn. Now it is the werewolf's turn.
I'm a vampire. That's what we
The
do.
wolf grabs your arm and he's got you. So he's trying he's able so he can take a disarm action, right? Because he grappled you and succeeded.
He has to use a maneuver if he got less than 5, but he still succeeded. Then he can do one maneuver, and in this case,
One
it would be
maneuver.
control weapon. So he can like grab
Okay.
my wrist and hold it
Okay,
away.
yeah. So he's holding it away.
Okay, but I'm not
Uh
disarmed unless he wins again, and then uses control weapon to toss
okay.
it.
Well, it's the other werewolf's turn, so.
Aha!
All right, so the other werewolf looks at Nux, does the smile, then just turns and goes to you, and he's holding your arm, same arm with the gun. He's got it.
Mm,
Now it's Nux's turn. Oh shit. All right. So does Nux's claws do aggravated or lethal? Just lethal to these guys, right?
pretty sure lethal.
Yeah, okay. So he goes for the other one that he had already slashed,
Hmm.
and he goes ahead and he digs his claws into his back. But he can't quite get him to move, but he does get his claws in him. And it's your turn again. Cuz Juliet is just trying to keep Rose out of the fight.
Mm.
And like she's kind of like standing at the ready to like jump in, but at the same time she knows Rose isn't meant for fighting. She doesn't want her to get hurt.
Okay, I'm like, call out some tips.
Well, get your control of your gun then.
Okay, I'm going to use my ectoplasmic. Uh, I'm going to make an entreaty to the local ghosts to help me out.
Okay.
Because whatever the fuck these are, they're not. If they're werewolves, they aren't right werewolves. So I'm going to spend a point of ectoplasm and try for.
So you don't
Um,
want to try to get out of the grapple?
I mean, I recognize I'm overpowered,
Okay.
so I'm just like, help.
Okay.
So I'm going to use, let's say, Presence 3 and uh, Persuasion 4, and spend a point of ectoplasm to speak to ghosts and just be and shout out in Polish. Pomocy!
Whoopsie. So the ghost that helped you find this room comes out from the wall to. So you've turned around and you're facing the door you came out of. So he's coming out of the wall from your left. You see a woman dressed in what looks like probably like like the prison garb for World War II.
Ooh.
Comes out. And then you see a little boy come out from right next to the door that you came in. He's dressed in it's definitely pre 1900 clothing.
Damn.
Okay.
Are they? What are
So
they doing?
so they all come out. The little boy goes and like while you're struggling with the wolves, he kind of like goes underneath behind the one wolf. so that the one wolf starts to like trip, and he lets go of you, but as he's letting go, his claws scratch your arm,
Gah!
and he falls back. So that would be hang on. So that's the claws. So you just take 3 points of bashing.
That is correct. And we went to the developers for that one.
Yeah.
But their bites do ag if these
Yeah.
are werewolves.
Yeah, so but it was his claws, so it's just
Yep.
bashing damage. So that heals.
Ugh.
And you see that the guy who like helped you find it, he's trying to like pull the one werewolf, and the girl is trying to push him to help him fall backwards over the little boy.
Awesome.
All
I'm
right,
I'm
so
scrabbling back looking for the gun.
okay. So you still have the gun in your hand. They didn't knock it
Oh.
out.
Oh,
Not
okay.
yet. Not yet, but it's their turn.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. So he gets up. That's his action. So then the other one is going to try to take your gun away from you. He's got your hand with both of his, and he's able to like grab the gun and fling it. And it goes off back somewhere. You don't know where. Nux has still got his claws in this guy, and he's all right, so Nux has his claws, and he does pull him back, like pulls him back and kind of like throws him down to the ground. And at that moment, you hear a really loud, high-pitched whistle coming from the other door entrance into this room. And standing in that doorway is a man wearing a very expensive-looking 3-piece suit. He has a cane in one hand with a wolf's head. He's holding a whistle up to his lips. He has long white hair, cheekbones for days, bright, shockingly blue eyes, and a chin that could just cut through anything.
He has a chisel for a face.
Yes, he takes the whistle and tucks it into his pocket. The wolves stop. They shift back into like small wolf form, and they walk over to him and sit right next to him. The ghosts, they're gone. They see who it is and they just leave.
That's not a good sign.
I apologize for my pets here. But you see, sometimes they don't like it when their territory is invaded.
We tried to explain we didn't know it was their territory.
Well, maybe they were just looking for a fight then. He looks at them and they kind of like shrink. Allow me to introduce myself. He steps forward. My name is Alexei Snikt. He holds out his hand to you.
I pull my... Oh, go ahead.
Juliet has not stopped protecting Rose. And Nux is just kind of like,
light one up.
Yep, lighting one up, looking to see if he's got any wounds that need attending to.
I lean down and pick up the Uzi in my offhand, and with my hand that's been holding the wound slick with blood, shake his. Does he flinch whatsoever?
No, he just smirks at you. Did you say your name?
William.
Do you have a last name, William? Or are you like Cher?
You lose it over time. I've had many.
Really, you don't seem that old to me.
I take it you're in the know?
I believe I know who you are.
Then do you mind if we get about our business and we'll be on our way?
Course. Should you find yourself in need of a friend or looking for some information, he holds out a business card. It just has a phone number on it.
Bear that in mind.
Well, we'll leave you to it then. He turns around and walks back down the way he came. The wolves follow. One of them does look back at you, but
Probably the one I filled with silver.
yeah, but Alexi kind of just goes like does it like I can't do it, but you know, a high pitch. Yeah, and he turns and continues walking.
Look at the
Once they're
others.
definitely gone, that's when Juliet finally lets Rose away from the wall, and Rose kind of like pushes her arm down in a way.
Okay, then.
All right, so I guess we start looking. While you're looking at the back wall, the wall from where the wolves came out, you see in one of the stones a symbol that it's faded, but it's a pentagram with like a swastika emblazoned in the middle, and when you look at it, it glows a little bit. But if you're looking at it with just regular sight, it's so faded that you might even miss it.
But it's that little bit of ectoplasm or something.
It's like the vampire sight lets you see.
Oh.
And you do actually see a little bit of ectoplasm too.
Mm.
And if you want to check in another site, you
Switch
could
to
see it. Yeah, it looks different in the spirit site too.
Ugh. Push it.
Okay. As you push it, the wall shifts back a little bit and then slides. And there's no light in there, but it doesn't matter for you. It's very small. It's like a little closet. Um, it's damp in here though, really damp, and you can smell burnt paper.
Shit.
But so it's really small. It's like maybe a 5 by 5 room. There is like a cabinet, and there's like a little desk with a chair and some papers sprawled on it. There's papers all over the floor. The cabinet drawers have all been like pulled open, and they're pretty empty. But you do find, while sifting through it, you find a file labeled the Rice Project.
Flip it open.
Um, However, the notes are a mixture of German and, from what you can tell, Latin. It's written almost in code.
Well, you picked the two languages I speak other than English.
That's why I picked them. I wanted to make it easy for you.
Oh, stands to reason.
But it is written in code, so it will take you time to crack that code. Um, Once you've gone in there, Nux, Rose, and Juliet join you, and Rose picks up some pictures on the floor, and she's staring at them. Nux picks up a folder, and he says, "Well, isn't this interesting?" And the folder is labeled Project Geister Experiment. And another folder that he looks up is called Operation Reiner Wolf. Both written in code, but not German and Latin this time. Sorry.
Hmm.
So You can tell sort of from one thing from the notes you can tell about the train is that it did exist and it never reached its destination. Um, when you look over at Rose, you can see she's sort of shaking.
You okay?
There's a picture of Rose when she was human sitting on a bench talking to Callie in New Orleans. And if you look at the other things she's looking at, you see a picture of Nux from when he was in the military and human. You see a picture of Juliet, what looks like when she was captured. And you see a picture of you studying in Chicago.